Hey there, folks. So I'm here in beautiful Portland, Oregon, and I just wanted to talk with you guys a little bit about media and how media bias could put people in danger of police violence. So basically, media minimizes the effects of police violence on protesters, and they over-dramatize the effects of protesters' violence against police. For instance, the media will say something like, police responded to projectiles by dispersing the crowd. That's how they report on it. What doesn't go reported is that dozens of grenades are thrown into a crowd, and potentially hundreds of rounds, less lethal rounds, are shot into the crowd. So while the overall report of the police responding to projectiles by breaking up the crowd might be true, it minimizes the fact that police use extreme violence to respond to protesters. And when you discount the extreme nature of the violence, what ends up happening is, in the public's mind, in the public's eyes somehow, it's more justifiable for that level of force to be used against people, despite the fact that those crimes don't warrant any use of force. So while law enforcement might allege that there's been some sort of a crime committed, like a civil disturbance or an unlawful gathering, then those crimes don't actually warrant the use of force. They don't. The police use unnecessary force to carry out these actions against unarmed people. And, it's not reported that way on the news. And it's got me a little bit disgruntled, because if the media accurately reported the level of violence being carried out by law enforcement, the public, I feel like, would be righteously indignant and outraged. But the media minimizes police violence if they report on it at all, and virtually, ignore the injury of protesters, because there have been protesters have been dying. Police have been killing protesters across the country in the past 20 plus days since this all started. The police have been killing protesters. And it's important for that information to get out there and for it to be accurately reported and not swept under the rug and minimized and kind of pretended that it doesn't matter. So, I am more than a little bit upset with mainstream media. I don't feel like they are a good representation of a free press. They don't represent the people who they serve. They're not diverse. They don't do a good job of reporting on issues affecting marginalized communities, whether it's people of color, immigrants, refugees, farm workers, or any community of color. The media does a real horrible job reporting on it. They basically cater to a very small crowd. And we have to face the fact that the mainstream media is an arm of the racist control mechanisms that we live under in the United States of America. So the police and the media work hand in hand. And if you go to my previous video, you'll see precisely that happening. You'll see the media calling the cops when I start telling them that they're lying about us. The cops come over to them, talk to them, then come over to me, talk to me, then go back over to them and talk to them, exactly like cops do. That's how you can tell they're cops. Anyway, I just wanted to take the time to make this video before I arrive and let you guys know that I really don't trust the media. They take things out of context. They do not serve the interests of people who are poor or people who are of color or any minority group. They really don't. They harm marginalized communities, and they especially harm and endanger activists. You know, I was at Standing Rock. I was at Occupy. I marched against the first and second Iraq wars. I have been around for no nukes marches. I've been around for marches against, you know, abuse of farm workers' rights. I've been around for AIDS awareness marches. And over and over and over again, the media does not give an accurate representation of the protesters, the goals of the protesters, and they especially don't give an accurate representation of the use of force used by law enforcement. So I just wanted to put this video out, mention a few of those things. I appreciate you guys taking the time to tune in. I hope you have a great rest of your day out there, and I will be streaming from the Justice Center in Portland, Oregon. So if you're interested, then you know, turn on notifications, subscribe, and make sure to keep up with me, because I'll be out here in Oregon.